More on this now from ABC's Cokie Roberts, a veteran Vatican watcher. We just heard the Cardinals talk about the idea that no consensus is forming yet. Very different from 8 years ago when Cardinal Ratzinger was the front runner for Pope.
Well, he was certainly the guy to beat, and it was Ratzinger versus non-Ratzinger. There wasn't an obvious other candidate. Now there's no obvious candidate. And they don't know each other very well. More than half of them have been appointed by this Pope in the last 8 years. So they have to get to know each other and then see who's for whom before they can have
those discussions have already begun, even though the conclave hasn't met yet. But you point out that more than half of them were chosen by Pope Benedict. That means he's going to have some influence on the choice, even though he's pledged to stay out of it.
He pledges to pray for them and hope the Holy Spirit comes and leads them in the right direction, which is interesting, George, because in the past he said the Holy Spirit didn't have much to do with these conclaves. He didn't want to blame the Holy Spirit for some bad popes over history. But it is a time when people really don't know what's going to happen, and that makes it exciting, but also a little bit scary. The Secretary of State, former Secretary of State, who greeted the Pope this morning, the Dean, said it was with some trepidation that the Cardinals met, and I think he means that. I think that they really don't know what's going to happen.
They've never been through anything like this before either. You saw Cardinal Dolan laugh off the idea that he is going to be chosen Pope. Most watchers don't believe it will be an American, but what about the idea that it could be a Pope from Africa or Latin America?
Well, of course, that's where most Catholics are. The majority of the church is in the southern hemisphere, and that's where it's growing. But it's very hard to break this European barrier. Here we are at this beautiful Renaissance church. The Renaissance was a long time ago. Hard to get them to recognize what they still consider the New World.